All right, ladies and gentlemen, so one of the things that I get asked a lot, especially by my non-car people or non-Mopar people, is what is the difference with the 82 million different models of Challengers and Chargers and so forth? They've got all kinds of SRT and RTs and God knows what else. How do you differentiate between them? What is the noticeable differences, and what are the unnoticeable differences until you actually drive the car? And honestly, that's a good question. So as a Mopar guy, it seems like almost every year they introduce another trim, or they take something away or add something in, and it can be taxing sometimes to keep up with it. And even car guys that aren't Mopar guys, they even get confused sometimes. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the different trim levels of the Mopars for the 2022 model year. So that way, maybe it makes a little bit more sense. You can see what the differences are, and you can see why one is maybe worth it more than the other. So first, we're going to start with the bottom and work our way up to the top. Doesn't mean that the bottom ones are garbage or they're trash. It just means performance-wise and what your options and available things are to you are going to change. And obviously, as we go up, the car is going to get more and more expensive. So first, we're going to start with the SXT model. The SXT comes with a 3.6 liter, 303 horsepower, 268 pound-feet of torque V6. Now, depending on the application, be it the Charger, Challenger 300, the power goes up or down slightly from there. The 300s, which has been discontinued, the 300 had 299 horsepower, which for marketing purposes, I would have thought they would have made 300, but whatever. I digress. So there are a couple options that come with the SXT as far as appearance and performance packages. Now for the SXT, we're going to skip over the performance packages because there are none. We're going to go straight to the appearance packages. First off, you get the option of the Blacktop Package, which gives you 20-inch black painted alloy wheels. You get a black grille, instrument cluster, black rear spoiler, black fuel door, trim-specific badging, so it'll say SXT all over the place. And you get fog lamps, front fog lamps. You also have access to the Plus package, which will give you a 20-inch satin carbon painted wheels, bright pedals, ambient lights, and stitched instrument panel and doors. So no real performance upgrades or handling upgrades available for options for the SXT, but you do have some nice cosmetics that'll change up and make it look like it's not just some punk-based V6 model. Next, we're going to discuss the GT. The GT also comes with a 3.6 liter, 303 horsepower, 268 pound-feet of torque V6. What is the overall difference between the two? Glad you asked. So the GT does have the all-wheel drive system. That is one of the few Mopars outside of the trucks and the SUVs that does come with the all-wheel drive availability. So on top of that, there are some performance package upgrades as well as appearance package upgrades as well. Now, as far as performance packages go, which the SXT does not have the option for, the GT has the option for the performance and handling package. The performance and handling package includes a 20-inch lights out painted wheels. It has 4 Brembo 4-wheel ABS brakes with black calipers, a high-performance suspension, performance steering. It has the option for either the 309 or the 390 rear axle, and it has anti-slip differential. All things that are not available on the SXT again. As far as appearance packages go, the GT also has the same Blacktop and Plus package that we outlined for the SXT. It does not have any of the other appearance packages available that the other trim levels have. Next in line, we have the RT. Y'all should know the RT by now. As much talk as we've done about the Magnum, same basic concept. It has the 5.7 liter Hemi V8. The modern RT has 375 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. So, not a world beater, I know. On this channel and on the TikToks and everything, I've gone round and round with people about this, but the RT is not a world beater. But man, that 375 horsepower, that 410 pound-feet of torque, it'll really kick you in the behind, and people don't understand how quick those things can be. Now, as far as drivetrain goes, it's standard rear-wheel drive, like the SXT before it, and the remainder of the cars going forward are standard rear-wheel drive. It also has the same 8-speed automatic as the vehicles before it. It's the TorqueFlite 8-speed automatic, but they also have an available 6-speed manual option as well. The RT, as far as performance packages and options, it has the same performance handling package available that the GT had, with the 20-inch lights out painted, the 4-wheel Brembo ABS brakes, and so forth. The RT, though, the RT does have the shaker package available. It gives you a shaker under hood decal, it gives you a gloss black grille and a shaker hood and intake, as well as a satin black rear spoiler. Then you have the TA package, which is Trans Am. It has 20-inch low gloss black wheels, a gloss black grille, a satin black rear spoiler, a functional hood scoop. Functional hood scoop is important because a lot of vehicles nowadays, they tend to have just bolt-on or appearance packages that give you a hood scoop. This is an actual functional hood scoop that draws air into the engine compartment. And many of these can have air intakes or ram airs hooked up to the dump-off port for the functional air hood to get better utilization of that fresh air, so you're not getting hot air directly from the engine compartment and you're getting the cooler air from outside the car. Huge thing to have a functional hood scoop. It also gives you unique body graphics and a detailed instrument cluster that really brags about the TA aspect of the car. And finally, the last appearance package available to the RT is the Performance Plus package. It gives you 20-inch forged painted aluminum wheels and summer tires. Next up is the RT Scat Pack, and this is where people get a little wonky with it, okay? Because several years ago, they had the RT, which was the 5.7, and then they had the SRT, which was the 6.4 liter, 392 cubic inch V8 Hemi. And then they had the SRT Hellcats and some of the other SRT models. So what Dodge eventually did, while simultaneously having the 392 SRT, they created an RT Scat Pack, which was basically the RT but stepped up to an SRT motor. And if you were to lift the hood on the RT Scat Pack, it would say RT all over the car, but underneath the hood, when you look at the 6.4 liter Hemi on the cylinder head, it would say powered by SRT. So there's been a lot of debate. Are RTs actually SRTs? Blah, blah. To answer the question, simply no. No. RT Scat Packs are not SRTs. The car may say powered by SRT, but there's a lot more that goes into an SRT package than just the motor. There are all kinds of different performance and handling aspects that change from the RT Scat Pack to the SRT. So eventually, they ended up wiping out the SRT 392, and the only available model now currently that has the 392 SRT motor in it is the RT Scat Pack. The 6.4 liter, 392 cubic inch, 485 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque Hemi V8, 392 Hemi V8. That is what is available in the RT Scat Pack as far as power. There's no other trim level that offers the 392, and the RT Scat Pack is just that. It is an upgraded RT that has never prior to now matched the SRT until after it was discontinued. Now, as far as performance and handling options that are available for the RT Scat Pack, the first is the SRT Performance Spoiler. What that does is it adds, you guessed it, an SRT Performance Spoiler to the Scat Pack. You do have the option for also a Dynamics package, and that Dynamics package gives you 6-piston Brembo front brakes and 20-inch painted aluminum wheels. So we mentioned the 4-piston Brembo brakes before. Why do they upgrade to 6? Well, there's an old saying among car people that if you got a lot of go, you need a lot of woe. And as you upgrade the power in your car, they upgrade the power and strength of the brakes up front, because the majority of the braking in a car is done up front. That's why if you ever ride your brakes a lot and you see your front wheels are dirtier than your back wheels, it's because the majority of the braking is done up front, because you're stopping a car that's moving forward from the front of it. There's brakes on all 4 wheels, don't get me wrong, but majority is done up front. That's why they upgrade the brakes up front. And the final package that's available to the RT Scat Pack is the 1320 package. Why is 1320? What does that mean? 1320 is the length of a quarter mile, which is the most common measurement of racing for a drag race. So what does that offer you? It offers you a drag mode that is normally only available in the Hellcat and the Demon or the Superstock or any of the other versions that are comparable to the Demon. And it also gives you an adaptive suspension and street legal drag race tires, which was one of the big things that the Demon introduced back in 2018, I believe. Street legal drag tires that made it so you could drive around on the roadway but still have somewhat drag slick style tires to be trying to take off and smoke people with. Now, as far as appearance packages go, the Scat Pack has pretty much all of the same appearance packages that the RT has. It has the Plus package, it has the Shaker package, it has the optional TA package. It does not have the Performance Plus package that the RT has. But where it does one up the standard RT is it gets the infamous wide body package that comes on the Hellcats, the Demons, the Redeyes, and the Superstock. Now, what does the wide body package give you? Is it a true wide body in the sense of the actual usage in the car world? No, it's not really a wide body. What it does is it puts the wider fender flares on the vehicle, so that way you can get the wider 305 tires that get better traction and better handling, so you can actually put that power to the ground better. But it also gives you the competitive suspension and the 20-inch forged painted wheels. So people overlook the importance of that wide body package. I know it might not look like much of a difference to the non-car people, but that wide body package to get those extra 305s all the way around the car, that is a huge difference, massive difference. Next up, we have the infamous, world-changing, muscle car, world-breaking Dodge Challenger, Charger, whatever the case may be, Hellcat. Introduced back in 2015-ish. Comes with a 6.2 liter supercharged Hemi V8 cranking out. Now, when it was introduced, it was 707. Now it sits at 717 horsepower and 656 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in, oh my god, it has the available 8-speed automatic and the 6-speed manual. Now, as far as the Hellcat goes, there are only 2 performance package options for the SRT Hellcat. The first one is the SRT Performance Spoiler. As we explained, adds an SRT Performance Spoiler to the car. And there also is an option for a rear seat delete package. What does that do? Common sense. Rear seat delete does just that. It deletes the rear seat out of the car. Why would you do that? Glad you asked. Because the last time I looked into it, I believe by removing the rear seat out of the vehicle, I think the Hellcat loses about 100 pounds, give or take. Maybe it's not that much, maybe it is, but when you have all the things that bolt it down and hold it in place and all the other accessories like seat belts and stuff that go along with it, I think all things considered, it is about 100 pounds, give or take, which when you have a 4,300 pound car, every pound makes the difference, especially when you're competing against Mustangs that are, you know, most Mustangs are down in the low to mid threes, maybe 3,500 pounds, but you know, as you get into the higher performance ones like the GT500 and stuff, they do actually break the 4,000 pound mark, but the Challenger's a little close to 4,400 pounds, while the GT500 per se is right around 41, 42. So you do need that every pound that you can get to try and close the gap a little bit, especially as the Mustang encroaches on the same horsepower numbers as the Hellcat. Next up, we have the Dodge Challenger Charger Hellcat Redeye. What does the Redeye do versus the standard Hellcat? Well, first and foremost, they changed the air intake, they changed the pounds of boost on the supercharger and so on and so forth, and they increase the horsepower to 797 horsepower, and the torque goes up to 707 pound-feet of torque. Not to mention, the wide body kit comes standard on the Hellcat Redeye, so you have the 305s all the way around. So it's basically the Hellcat with a lot of the options included from the Hellcat, wide body and some of the spoilers and so on and so forth, while also tweaking and tuning the motor, changing the performance of the motor up a good 80 horsepower and about 50 pound-feet of torque or so. So it's a massive difference. And just like the regular Hellcat, the only available options as far as performance packages is the rear seat delete and the SRT performance spoiler. As far as the appearance package goes, you have the painted black satin graphics available to you. You have, it gives you satin black hood, roof, and deck lid. You have the Laguna leather package option, which gives you Laguna leather seats, and they come with the SRT Hellcat logo. You have the Alcantara appearance package, which gives you Alcantara/Laguna seats with SRT Hellcat logo and Wild Wheel Alcantara steering wheel. And you finally have the wide body package, which you're already going to have the wide body on the car, but it does come with the additional things, some of the competition suspension and 20-inch forged painted wheels that we discussed before. And finally, we have the Mac Daddy. We have the SRT Superstock. For those of you that are not aware, the Demon shattered the car racing, car performance, muscle car world back in, I believe, 2018, when it became at the time, it was the fastest, by Guinness Book of World Records, the fastest 0 to 60 time. At a 0 to 60 time of 2.3 seconds. It had a quarter-mile time, and this was NHRA certified. Now, it doesn't matter that other people have not been able to replicate this. They went to the NHRA on their prepped surface, and they tested it in front of people that were documenting this. It had a 9.65 quarter-mile time, world record for a stock from the factory car, and is the only car from the factory that has ever been able to do a wheelie when it launches. Now, granted, the wheelie's only about an inch off the ground, but there is no other car that has come from the factory that the front tires have lifted off of the ground. So a lot of firsts. Now, since then, some of the electric cars have taken over from Tesla, have outdone those numbers, but it is what it is. As far as gas motors and stuff like that, they're still not touched. So why did I tell you all that? To tell you that that car had 808 horsepower, and it was the Hellcat motor. Changed up some of the cooling systems and a bunch of other things that would allow it to bump up to 808 horsepower. And at the time, that was a pretty significant jump, but they had an option. It was like $1 option where they sent you an SRT computer that Dodge would put in at the dealership for free. Then it would give you SRT pages where you could change all the numbers that you needed, and you can actually put race fuel in it, and it would jump to 840 horsepower. And that is how they got the NHRA numbers, with the SRT computer, with the race gas on a prep surface. So obviously those things need to be taken into consideration, but they happened, and they're there, and they're official. All of that to tell you that the Superstock, because the Demon was discontinued on purpose, for no other reason than, in typical fashion, these car manufacturers like to make them rare collectible cars. They came out with the Superstock, which is basically a slightly dumbed down version of the Demon. You don't have the race gas 840 horsepower option. You do have the SRT Hellcat motor that's bumped up to 807 horsepower, still 707 pound-feet of torque. This thing, as I discussed before in previous videos, the Hellcat is designed, the Redeye specifically, is designed in mind to be a street legal drag car that has your everyday driver in mind first. The Superstock is the Hellcat, but with drag racing in mind first. So you lose a lot of the creature comforts that come with the Hellcat Redeye, because this is a drag racing inspired car. They try to reduce weight as much as they can. They try to reduce a lot. I don't believe the super stock gives you the option of having the back seat at all. I think that is standard on the car, and a lot of other things like that that make it more of a drag car than a daily driver. I could be wrong about the backseat delete. I know there's at least an option for the backseat delete, but they do focus more on the drag racing aspect than the daily driver aspect. And as far as performance and appearance packages, nothing has changed from the Hellcat Redeye up to the super stock. They're all the same. You have the same options available. The biggest difference between those three SRT models is how much horsepower they have and whether or not they've got the creature comforts of a daily driver or whether they're more drag inspired. So not that anybody really cares about gas mileage when you're talking about performance cars and getting all excited about muscle cars, but there are some people out there that they're going to make their decision on which one they get based off of how much their gas mileage is. I mean, do you want to be driving a 10 mile per gallon car every day as your everyday driver? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe you got the money and it doesn't matter. But we'll go over that real quick just for the sake of argument. So the V6 comes standard with the ability to get 19 miles per gallon around town and 30 miles per gallon on the highway. Once you pair the V6 with the all-wheel drive option for the GT, it drops down to about 18. So you get a 1 mile per gallon loss around town, but you lose about 27 miles per gallon on the highway. The RT, the 5.7, gets you about 16 and 25. The 6.4 liter in the Scat Pack gets you 15 and 24. So not a big difference. If all you're concerned about is gas mileage, there's not a big difference between the RT and the Scat Pack, even though you're getting a huge bump in power. And obviously, as expected, the absolute most garbage gas mileage out of all those cars comes from the SRTs, where they get about 13 miles per gallon around the city and somewhere around 21 or 22 around on the highway. So, I mean, if you can afford one of the SRT models, I'm sure you're not super crazy worried about the gas mileage, but some people care about that stuff. I figured I'd throw that out there for you guys, just so the more you know. So what is all that horsepower and stuff? What does it really accomplish as far as 0 to 60 times and so forth? Well, the V6s, the 306 horsepower, whatever it is, V6, they go 0 to 60 in mid to high sixes, usually right about that 6.5, 6.6, which is okay for a big, heavy car packing a V6. Nothing crazy. I'm sure the all-wheel drive GT gets a little bit faster, but probably not a lot. I mean, the torque on those V6s is extremely low. Like I said, mid to upper twos, not blazing by any means. The RTs over the years have gotten quick enough, like in other videos I've mentioned, they knocked out the 6.1 liter motor and got rid of that. The RTs, the 5.7s, have whittled their way all the way down to right about 4.9, 5.0, maybe even the slowest I've seen is a 5.3, and the fastest I've seen on an RT is like about 4.9, 5.0. The 392 SRTs, they're right about in that low 4 range, 4.2 to 4.4, right about there. I've seen people get as low as 4 even, or even 3.9, but I mean, I'm talking like perfect launches, perfect everything, perfect prep surface and everything. Your average is going to be up 4.2, 4.3 in an SRT 392, or correction, Scat Pack 392. So even Mopar guys do it by accident. So the Hellcat goes 0 to 60 in about 3.7 seconds. That's the standard Hellcat. The Hellcat Redeye does it in 3.4 seconds. And the Superstock does it in 3.25 seconds compared to the 3.23 from the Demon. So, correction, I'm sorry, 2.9. I may have misspoke earlier. 2.9 was the world record that the Demon set, 2.90 to 60. So obviously you do lose some 0 to 60 time from the Demon to the super stock, because you're losing the race gas, you're losing the extra horsepower and the extra computer tuning. So it does equate to some pretty solid numbers. People like to make fun of Mopars. Oh, they're boats, they're slow. Obviously, you can tell by the numbers that we're giving you that they're not slow. Are there things that are better or faster? Sure, absolutely. Are they dominating a lot of people that say that Mopars are slow? Absolutely, they are. So I know we got a little long-winded here. Hopefully, with all the pictures and stuff that we're able to throw up and all the things that you're able to see, you can get a little bit more a better understanding of what all the different trim levels are. And obviously, there's different cosmetic from the standard hood on the V6 all the way up to the RT hood scoops and all the way up to the super stocks and so forth. Hopefully that narrows it down a little bit better, and hopefully you enjoy the information as much as I enjoyed giving it. So until the next time, we'll see you on the next one.